Antonio evictions are something most landlords want to avoid. Courts in San Antonio are typically pro-tenant, and even if the tenant hasn't paid rent in months, you can lose the case if you make a small mistake or don't follow the correct legal process. The judge can throw out your case or force you to start over if you make a single error. Make sure you understand what you're doing so you don't end up spending more time and money on the eviction process. The first step in evicting a tenant is sending the tenant a late notice. Your lease should explicitly state when rent is due and what the consequences will be when it's late. If a tenant doesn't respond or pay what is owed, you'll need to post a 3-day notice to pay or vacate. This notice needs to be sent via certified mail, or you can post it on the door. If you post it, document your actions carefully. Take pictures and put the notice in an envelope. Make sure all the required information is in the notice. Be sure to put the correct verbiage on the outside of the envelope. If you are not using a professional management company to post the 3-day notice to pay or vacate, you should consider hiring an attorney to make sure the process is done correctly so your case will not be thrown out of court. Usually, tenants will pay within the required 3 days to pay or vacate to avoid escalating the situation. However, if your tenants are non-responsive or continue to avoid paying the rent, you need to move to the next step. Go to the court and file your eviction. You'll get a hearing date, and what happens next will depend on whether the tenant responds or shows up in court. You need to be prepared that the tenant may show up to court with their attorney. We highly recommend, if you're doing your evictions yourself, to have an attorney represent you in court. Be sure to have and bring all of the documentation necessary to prove your case. If your records are not in order, you could lose your eviction case, so be sure to maintain accurate and detailed records. After the judge hears your side of the story and the tenant's response, a ruling is issued. If you made any mistakes in the legal process, the judge may rule against you in favor of the tenant. Even though they have not paid rent, you may be forced to start the eviction process over and even unable to collect any back rent owed. The judge will not want to hear stories about how the tenant has lied to you or trashed the house. The judge will want to see facts. You need to be able to show the judge the lease agreement and the tenant's payment history. The best ways to minimize evictions in San Antonio is with excellent tenant screening, lease enforcement, and tenant communication. Hiring a professional property manager or an attorney to handle the eviction process is in your best interest. For more information on how to evict a tenant, please contact us at Liberty Management.